All right, here is a way to play scales that may not have occurred to you, may not have been shown to you while you were playing the guitar. Nobody showed it to me. It's something that I had in my mind and I decided to figure out recently. This is how I've been playing the scales lately. I'll give you a bit of a demo of it, and then I'll unpack what I'm doing. My name is Mark. I play guitar. I teach guitar. And I would love to help you on your journey of learning, mastering, and improving skills at the guitar. Here's the scale. We'll try B flat. Alright, here's how I learned to play scales when picking up the guitar. It was a pretty simple shape that we could apply at any level of fret. Here was B flat. Maybe you only learned half of it. But ultimately, as a guitarist, I think most of us realize at some point, or are told by one of our teachers, that you gotta learn all the way up, all the way across the fretboard, but also all the way up the fretboard. And what makes the guitar unique compared to an instrument like the piano is there are many ways to play all the notes. So there's no actual right way to play. You can look at the piano and say, if you're not pressing a certain key at a certain moment in the progression of the scale, you're just doing it wrong. That's not true with the fretboard. With the fretboard, there's an infinite number of ways you could escalate it and de-escalate it. You could ascend and descend. That's the word I was looking for. Because there's two ways to make this B flat, for instance. There's three ways to make that B flat. 3, 4. There are 4 ways to make that B flat. And that's not even counting B flat doesn't show up as a harmonic on the guitar anywhere. But when we get into other scales and notes like A is throughout the guitar as a harmonic. It has its own string. It can be harmonized across that string in multiple places. Those are different frequencies of vibration. But you can also play the A all the way up the D string. And I think this liberates us as guitarists. It gives us a lot to play around with in terms of, while the note might not change from here, that didn't work, to there, the tone of those 3 B flats is different. If you can't hear it, just play those 3 B flats over and over again until you hear a difference. Okay. Let's do the scale. So the way the scale was taught to me. Beautiful, right? One day we'll do a deeper dive on like why the scales sound the way they do. For now, here's how I've been playing it. So what is happening there? And I've been practicing that at this is clicked for me that the place I want to get, I'll get there faster if I learn to play the scales in this way across all the keys. I'll just give you another example of some of the other keys, because some of them are fun. And what I'm doing, I'll share is like because we have so many options with the notes, because we have so many ways of making every note from B flat to A, like just all the notes, they show up in a bunch of places in the fretboard. Because we have that option, it's actually overwhelming to think, oh, I've got all these options. So I made a rule set that said I was going to privilege, when playing the scale, playing open strings. So notes like open D, in terms of, because you're making all these choices. It's like if I have to play the D scale, what you're choosing is not just where to play the D note, but where to play the E that follows it, and then where to play the F sharp that follows it. And you would get paralyzed if you're like, now that I've played the D, which of the three E's I could play would sound good here? The harmonic E, the fretted E at the 7th fret, the fretted E at the 2nd fret right above the D we just played. What clicked for me was that I like the sound that a piano makes when the notes can ring out, when you can ascend the scale. There we go. When you can ascend the scale, escalate feels more like a volume word, or like it's been escalated to the senior customer service desk. We're not trying to escalate anything. We're just trying to advance the scale, ascend. That's it. So what I'm doing is I'm privileging the ringing out of notes. So if I can play a D, and I don't have to play another string note on that string for, let's see how far I can get with the way I've been playing it. I'll have to come in. So yeah, I'm actually going to play it different with that in mind, because I realized that I could go D, F sharp, but then I'm cutting off the D, the D, F sharp, but I'm cutting off the D. So instead, what I'm going to do when I go up that scale is D, F sharp, G. So at that point, I've got all 4 bottom strings ringing out. D, F sharp, G. Hear it? That's the sound I love. So I can make D, F sharp, G, A, B. Sometimes I forget the notes when I'm talking. C sharp, D, A. And we're on D, so we gotta go all the way up to. So there's a lot that goes into this, and for those of you that want to learn this technique, and I'll just share like the way that I'm learning it is, 1 second here, just let me bring my video up. The way that I'm helping myself learn it, which is eventually something that I'm going to make available for purchase, and there'll probably be like a free sample version of it, but is a set of 12 key companions, I call them. So they're just, I'm just putting it together on my iPad by hand, and it'll end up being like a nice looking file in Illustrator. But right now I'm just going through and saying, okay, I followed like a lot of us did. If you're in like an intermediate guitarist, if you've gone through some kind of guitar lessons, you probably learned like the cowboy chords, caged system, like C, A. And then you just learned to like, okay, if I want to play that chord, if I want to play the A minor, but if it's a B minor, I'll play B minor up here. But everybody that played the cage system and didn't go beyond that, which is like a lot of professional musicians, a lot of musicians who are like, guitar is one thing that they do, but it's not like they learned the cage chords and then they developed a really amazing voice, and now they're out there and nobody's thinking with the guitar. Awesome. Like I love listening to great singers. I don't really listen to the guitar that closely. When it's like a song hits me. I know the music I want to make. I want to know, and I know the way my brain wants to make sense of the harmonics of things, but I want to have access to these sounds as a guitarist, because piano players have access to these sounds when they think them, and they can some good ones. So what I'm doing is making these key companions that are like guides that you can use. So I'm developing them slowly, but the way it's working is like if I'm learning a song, like I got a couple songs that are in B flat and E flat right now. So those keys, B flat and E flat, I think that's what they are. But anyways, I'm focusing on those keys because they're close to one another. They have a lot of the same chords, obviously one note different. And I am going through it like key by key when songs arise and just building out a fretboard map. Because there's like when I learned guitar, it was just like, here's the map of the scale. And then that was like, and we learned the next mode up. And then they gave us a map of the fretboard, which I was sort of like interpreted or told, or I think a lot of guitarists just assume that's like, and then you just slide it up and down. And then we forget about the beauty of the open strings. The beauty of the open strings is you can make sounds like this. And you can have it ringing out. Or you can do like this is not open strings, but it's a chord that I learned from Lenny Barreau and a style of picking through it that can give you that sort of piano sound. When you get all 6 strings ringing out at once, you're making this new sound that hasn't been before. So as I'm learning these new songs, I'm making these key companions, and I'm not only going through the scales, but I'm also going through the chords and saying like, okay, if I want to play the B flat major, according to the cage system, might look like that. Might look like that if we take the D chord, or like the D shape. So this would be the, B flat. That would be the A shape. The C shape of the chord would be D shape, G shape. And you know what? Those chords are actually not easy on the fingers. Like I put my fingers in a lot of places other guitarists don't put them. And I would much rather play this, which is just like a straight 1, 3, 5, B flat, D, F. Then like you got to use every finger, or like really come on hard to the strings. And I think the harder you come on to the strings, the quicker they're going to come out of tune. You're stretching them. Your fingers are going to get sore. Play this instead. This is 6th fret, 8th fret, open string. Like by privileging open strings and harmonics, it's also a recipe for doing less work on the guitar. For making more full sounds that can sustain. You don't have to sustain them. You can turn it off, right? You can let it go. You can mute it with one or both hands. But here, as soon as you release the pressure, the whole thing stops. So why not do this? Very easy to hold 2 fingers down. It's like a power chord. to your fingers, but it's the full chord to your ears. So if we wanted to add the 7th in there, if we're doing B flat major, that's what it would sound like if we in the cage system. And I love this chord. I'm still gonna play this chord a bunch. There's something very easy to the fingers as soon as you like just move one finger off that fret. So what you're doing is you're changing an A shape to the bottom 3 notes of the chord are sort of like a triangle. 2nd fret on the D or 4th string. Sorry, 3rd fret on the D for 4th string. 2nd fret on the G or 3rd string, giving you an A. 3rd fret, it's a triangle, arpeggio, the 5, 7, 3. No, the 5, 7, yeah, 3. 1, 5, 7, 3, 1. Okay, so that's it from the B flat from the cage system, but we could also do B flat 7th from the cage system, major 7th. So it's just working it out. So this is what I'm doing with the key companions. I'm saying, okay, I want to add an A to this chord, but what I want to do is keep as many open strings as possible. And in order to do that, what am I going to have to do? So sometimes that means looking at notes and rearranging where you put them. So maybe if I put the F down here, so that is it, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. Then you just experiment. So that's the method. I'm giving you all the secrets, all my secrets as to how I'm creating these key companions. But that's a lot to remember if you're just like going through and like navigating the guitar fretboard. So it's, for me, it's like it's a month-long process right now. I'm kind of assuming that maybe I'll get through one a month because I want to get something like really fulsome before I share it, just because I don't know, these things take time. That said, I'm going to be exploring it here on the channel. So if you have your guitar and want to play along and learn as I'm sharing, that's a great pace too. I'll play a few more scales for you. D is one I really like. Nope. Anyway, that's an 18-minute video. I'm going to leave it there. Please tell me what you think. Any questions you have about the scales? I am just getting started here on YouTube, so trying to build a community of guitarists, trying to attract a community of guitarists, musicians, people that want to get better at the guitar, people that want to transfer their musical ability from one instrument onto the guitar, people that are kind of like at the intermediate level. Maybe you picked up a guitar in, as a teenager and got far with it and then just like stuffed it in the closet for a while, or maybe you practice it every day, but you're still doing the same stuff you did in high school and you want to get better, or, any number of things, but generally looking for folks that are like serious about developing their musical ability, want to have a little fun while they're doing it, wants to, I was going to say, want to like know where the shortcuts are. There aren't literally shortcuts, but if you want to learn how to play guitar and make some of the sounds that I'm making on the guitar, I'd love to have you hang out and ask questions. I will probably answer more of them in early 2025, out of a desire to just connect and make content that is relevant to people who are where I just described. So, yeah, if you're up for the journey, subscribe, follow along, comment, tell me what you are learning from these videos, tell me what you're struggling with on the guitar, and yeah, good luck.